Let's say good morning once again to JP Morosi, leading the league, and with a discussion this afternoon. We'll have this exercise all week, JP. Let's roll up our sleeves on the very fascinating, much more competitive National League West.
Yes, let's begin with the Dodgers for a moment. Just this morning I was going back to revisit how dominant they have been as a franchise in recent years in Major League Baseball. Over the last 4 regular seasons, the Dodgers' winning percentage, .670. They've won more than 2/3 of their games in the last 4 years. That simply does not happen in Major League Baseball. A full 29 games better over that 4-year span than the next best Major League team, the Houston Astros. So we begin there with the Dodgers and the pluses and minuses so far of their regular season. They lose Trey Turner. That's a huge loss for them. Tyler Anderson as well goes up the road to the Los Angeles Angels. Craig Kimbrell, a minus as well on the bullpen side of things. And then you consider also Justin Turner and Cody Bellinger leaving. When you add up the departures of Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, more and more of the players from that 2020 World Series championship team are no longer wearing Dodger blue. But on the positive side, J.D. Martinez comes in as the full-time DH we expect. Noah Syndergaard joins the rotation. Shelby Miller probably a reliever at this stage. Miguel Rojas a possibility to play shortstop every day for the Dodgers, depending on how things play out with their middle infield. So I would say, guys, I send it back to you, Tom, maybe a neutral offseason, maybe even a bit on the minus side because they lost Trey Turner.
Is there still a move to be made, though? We were led to believe that once the books cleared from 2022, that maybe the Dodgers would have a trick or two up their sleeve in the winter or even spring. Do we still feel like that?
No. I'm actually surprised because the trade of Rojas puts them slightly over the first tax threshold. The worst thing to do, especially as a repeat offender, is to go barely over that threshold. You should blow through it. If you're going to go through the tax threshold, the idea is to get under it to reset your tax rate. That's what this year is about. So I think they'll actually pair a little bit to get under it by the time it's all said and done. This is about giving some other younger players an opportunity to make the lineup, whether it's Vargas, there's a bunch of guys, Luck's going to shortstop, looks like he's got the everyday job. And they've built this super team, as JP said, the last few years, and they get bounced in the playoffs in the first round. That did some soul searching in LA. It's like maybe we have to give some younger players in our system, and it's a really good system, a chance to break through. And we can still make the playoffs and see what happens then. And oh, by the way, there's a guy named Ohtani who's going to be out there as a free agent, most likely. And nobody wants him more than the LA Dodgers. Yeah. So I think that's in play as well.
Well, let's talk about then the team that bounced the Dodgers in the postseason, JP. That's the Padres, who many people feel like is the next best chance to topple the Dodgers and the magic that they've created the last decade in the division. For me, the discussion starts with giving a 31-year-old shortstop an 11-year deal. And if that doesn't say that the Padres want to win right now, then I don't know what does.
You're exactly right, Matt. The window for the Padres to win is right now. And you talked a lot about how that NLCS played out, how, yes, it was a 5-game series win for the Phillies, but how close it really was with the Padres. Xander Bogaerts going to San Diego changes this club. We also have to wonder, and I think it's going to be one of the big questions of the game, maybe one of the top 10 questions across the major leagues this year. What do they get from Tatis? When he's eligible to come back from the suspended list, how ready is he? How healthy is he? Of course, with the multiple surgeries he has had during that time. For me, Tatis, you're not going to see his name on this board, but he is part of the conversation. They're minus, of course, Manaea in the rotation, losing him to a division rival. We'll get to that in a moment. Josh Bell as well on the minus side. Will Myers, a longtime Padre, he has moved on. Brandon Drury as well. I thought he was a very savvy sign by the Angels. But then on the other side of the ledger, they add some experience. When we talk about how, depending on situations, how different playoff runs can unfold, if you can keep Carpenter healthy, if you can keep Cruz healthy, two really unique bats to have as part of your lineup from a standpoint of their experience. You add in now Bogaerts. These are all players who have been in the World Series before. And I think that's a very valuable component to put onto a team that you're hoping is now going to be able to challenge the Los Angeles Dodgers if you're a Padre fan, in addition to the retention of the likes of Martinez and Suarez, who are two really key arms in that bullpen.
Let's get you to the Giants, JP, because I think, fans that aren't in it with the Giants every day probably look at them as bridesmaids for Judge, bridesmaids for Correa, and they say, oh, man, what a bad offseason for the Giants. I would push back on that because I think they've had a good offseason. While they didn't land the huge big-ticket items, they bring back Jock. They add two really good Major League outfielders in Michael Conforto and Mitch Haniger, and they made some pitching additions. The Giants are markedly better on paper this year than they were last.
Well, Matt, it's a lot of excellent points there. I think that certainly losing Rodon is a concern. Of all the names on the board a moment ago, we could argue that Rodon might be the best player, and of course he is now a Yankee. However, I agree with you in your premise that they have added incrementally. And in that respect, Matt, this team reminds me more of the 2021 Giants, who when you look at their numbers and the names in the lineup, of course Posey was still on the team back then, you said, how many superstars do they really have? And yet their win total started with a 1. It was a 3-digit win total, more than 100 victories back in 2021. And that's the type of team that they have again right now for manager Gabe Kapler. And I think so many things right now, Matt, hinge on the health of Conforto. Of course, as you documented, they missed out on Judge and Correa. Conforto is not Judge or Correa, but at his best, he's an all-star. And if he's healthy, if the shoulder is sound, he has a chance to make a huge impact there in the Bay Area.
I guess, we have the Rockies-Diamondbacks discussion together because I think we'd agree that they make up the two teams that are really looking uphill the rest of the way. We've talked a lot more about Arizona than we have Colorado this offseason, however, because they've been a little bit more active, adding the veteran Evan Longoria. A really kind of low-risk, high-reward move, picking up Kyle Lewis and Lourdes Gurriel, of course, the big offseason acquisition for them.
Good point. And, of course, Gabriel Moreno as well arriving in that Dalton Varsho deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. That was a really interesting strength for strength kind of a move. The Jays needed to get some more left-handed power. And by the way, I love the conversation last block about Rogers Center. I think Varsho's a great fit there. But the Jays had to give up Moreno, who many people look at as being a possible frontline catcher in the major leagues, and they get Gurriel as well. This young Diamondbacks team, for me, is going to be really exciting to watch in 2023. You think about names like McCarthy, like Corbin Carroll in that outfield. I love that young talent in the outfield. That, to me, is going to be the key story for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And now looking at the Colorado Rockies, for me, gentlemen, the big question is, what can they get from Chris Bryant? There was not a ton of plus and minus here in terms of their offseason moves. Brent Suter, of course, works so quickly. Someone that I think is going to be a really effective pitcher in the new baseball with the pitch clock. But in general, all these names going back and forth, I really think if the Rockies are going to surprise anybody this year, it's going to depend on the health and productivity of the former MVP, Chris Bryant.
Good stuff. JP Morosi taking an advanced look at the NL West. We're going to have this exercise with the rest of the league as we continue this week.